Hello, fifth grade. It is Tuesday, April 22nd. On Monday, you learned about polygons. What makes up a polygon? Remember, it needs to have line segments, needs to have vertices, needs to have angles. It needs to be a closed shape. The line segments cannot cross. And the other thing we learned about is there can be no curves in the shape for it to be considered a polygon. All right, so circles, ovals, anything with a curve cannot be a polygon. So today we're going to start talking about the difference between regular and irregular polygons. Okay, here's the definition of a regular polygon. All right, all sides are congruent. Right? In geometry, congruent means equal, okay? And all the angles are congruent, right? So if we look at this pentagon, all right, it's a five-sided figure, all right? Each side is 3 centimeters, all right? So all sides are equal or congruent, all right? Each angle is the same amount. In this case, 108 degrees. All right, so each of the 5 angles are 108 degrees. So we would say that this shape is a regular polygon. Okay, now what we're going to be looking at is the different ways that geometry mathematicians mark their polygons. So you will know whether they are regular or not. Okay. So let's look at some regular examples. Okay, what I want you to notice, you're going to see this in your assignment today, if it has the same number of dashes, or you can think of them as tally marks on each side, all right, this is how geometry people, all right, I'll go over the marks, all right, these 3 dark marks, all right, see how each side of the triangle has the same amount. All right, so 1 dark mark, 1 dark mark, and another one. All right, that is how geometry people tell you that all 3 sides are congruent. All right, without writing numbers, that's what those marks mean. Okay, let's look at our square. Once again, each side has the same number of dashes or marks, all right? Each side has 1, so that tells you that this side is congruent to this side, which is congruent to this side, which is congruent to this side. All right, so that is the first thing you want to look for, are your dashes or your tally marks, okay? Second thing you need to look for in a regular polygon is that each angle is congruent or equal, okay? Now, the way that they show that are 2 ways, okay? In our triangle up here, notice that each corner where the angles are has this, it's called like an angle arch, all right? It's the arch of the angle, all right? Looks like a curve. See how each one has just 1 arch. So that is how geometry tells you that this angle is congruent to this angle, which is congruent to this angle. Right? With this square, because the angles are 90 degrees, they use the 90-degree corner, right, which tells you that each of the 4 angles are congruent. Okay, so let's give you one other example before we look at examples of irregular polygons. Okay, so let's do one more. Let's do, all right, trying to think here. Let's do a pentagon. Okay, it's very similar to the pentagon that was at the top of the page, but instead of writing numbers for the length of the sides or the measure of the angles, we're going to use the dashes or tally marks and the curves, right? So if I want to show that all 5 sides are congruent, I give each side the same number of dashes, okay? That tells us that all 5 sides have the same measure, right? Now, if I want to show that they have the same angle measurement, okay, so I will go to my corner and I will make an arch, angle arch. If I do just one line, and then I do the same arch to each corner, that tells you that all 5 angles have the same measurement, and that is a regular polygon. All right, so both of these things have to be true for it to be a regular polygon. Okay, now let's look at examples of something that is not regular. Okay, look at this triangle. Okay, first of all, look at your dashes. These 2 sides each have 1 dash. So that tells you that this is congruent to this. We don't know what the number is, but we know they are the same. But look at the third side. Third side has 2 dashes. So that tells you that this measurement is not the same as the sides that just have 1 dash. So because of that, we would say this is irregular, okay? Now we can also look at the angle arches, okay? Look here. This one has 1 arch. This one has 1 arch. These 2 are congruent. But look at the third one up here. This has 2 arches. All right, so this one is telling you that this angle is not congruent to the other 2 because it has a different number of arches. All right, so this triangle has 2 reasons why it's irregular. All right, the sides do not have the same measurement and the angles do not have the same measurement. All right, now let's look down at our rectangle. Once again, we look at our dashes. This tells us that the top and bottom of the rectangle are congruent. But look at our sides. This side has 2. This side has 2. All right, so the left and right sides are congruent. But because all 4 sides are not the same, all right, we would say this is irregular, okay? The angles, because it's a rectangle, the angles are all 90 degrees, right? So the angle part works, all right, but the sides are not the same, all right? So if one of the sides or one of the angles are not congruent, then we have to classify that as an irregular polygon. Okay, so let's give you another example of that. Okay, let's do another triangle. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, so looking at this, excuse me, looking at this triangle, okay, here's your right angle. Okay, so let's do our angles. Okay, this one is 90. Okay, I'm going to put this arch in here. And down here, this angle, which is very small, I'm going to give it 2 arches. All right, so right away we can see that all 3 angles are not the same measure. All right, so right away we know this is irregular. If we looked at the tally marks, I would give this side 1 tally mark. I would give this side 2 tally marks. and then I would give the long side 3 marks. All right, so when I look at this, I know that all 3 sides have different measures, all right, because of their marking. And then I also know that all 3 angles have different measures, all right, because of either the 90-degree angle mark, or this one that just has 1 arch, or this one who has 2, right? So 5th grade, this is what we're working on, the difference between regular and irregular polygons, right? Your assignment today is in your math book, right? So after watching this video, you're going to want to click on the Google Docs. I have directions written on the Google Docs. Make sure you follow them closely. And I have the page numbers and everything you need to know. When you're finished, make sure you click Turn In, right? And I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good day, 5th grade.